Hello everybody. A different video today. I wanted to comment on something because this is my INFJ side showing. I am known as the counselor type, right? And so and I felt these feelings since the thing that I'm going to talk about. I've had these feelings since I started learning about, hallucinogenics and healing practices. Now, some healing practices I do believe in. I really do. Like if you're really sick and you have to take some kind of herbal tea or something, I don't have any problem with that. Like, the thing I have problems with, even with the shamans taking it, is a hallucinogenic that can alter your mind in such a horrifying way that you become, you become sick, then you become listless, you become all these things. You have no control over what happens. You could end up in a seizure if your mental if your brain health isn't right. Excuse me. I had a drink earlier because I was dried out like heck. I thought it was moist enough in here last night that I could turn off the humidifier, but apparently not. Anyway, I digress. So, I saw this show. I might comment about it about another episode too in the same video, but there's this show called Unwell. Now, we all know that everybody here, if you find this video, you're probably not as well as you'd like to be, right? You could be doing better, right? Maybe you have some mental issues. Maybe you have some fat you want to lose. Maybe you have, I don't know. My issue with taking hallucinogenics is, the seizures. If you have a history of seizures, or if your brain chemistry's not right and your neurons don't work the way they should, you're going to have a seizure. If you're taking certain medications, they're going to react. You're going to react badly. You're going to react badly to the ayahuasca. But so many people that do take it, they're like, it healed something in me. I don't know what it was. I think if it makes you puke 5,000 times, it wouldn't be worth it for me. I would like, if I saw people doing that, look, and the Unwell show actually does show that. If I was at a group, let's say I never saw Unwell, okay? Let's say I went to some kind of group and the group around me took the drink. I chose not to, right? First of all, it's disgusting. Like, you literally, like, there's one point in the show where someone takes a drink of it, they're like, ugh. Like, yeah. It's telling you, hey, don't drink me. Don't drink me. You drink me, you'll pay the price, woman. It was a woman in this case that made that, ugh, right? Yeah. And, people take these things thinking, oh, it's gonna heal me. It's gonna do what therapy never did. Maybe because you haven't told the therapist have you told the therapist literally and everything you could? Sometimes there aren't very good therapists. I'm going to tell you that right now. I'm not saying I'm one either, because I've had my fair share of therapists that weren't the best therapists. Apparently I had a covert narcissist as a therapist, if you could believe that. You know why I say that? Because the first session I ever had was, this was back when I was in university. My first session with him was really good. He had some things that he could add into it. Like my mother, for example, when I would talk to him about problems I had with my mother, I remember he asked me a weird question at one point. He's like, so Sonia, do you think that maybe your mother is blah, 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 blah? Maybe it's not you, but do you think it might be her? And I'm like, I mean, maybe. I mean, she does this, this, and this, and this, and this. That could point to that, so maybe. But then, my last session with him, I was talking to him about my courses in university and how it wasn't so much the, I think it was just the way the teachers were teaching, and I had a lot of problems with these electives. But maybe I didn't word myself well enough. But instead of even trying to word myself well enough or recorrect myself or even giving me a chance, instead of the therapist asking, instead of it maybe being the electives, do you think that maybe it could be the way they're teaching? Is that the problem you're having? No, he comes out and goes, well, you were a little stubborn by not taking the electives in the way that we often suggested it to you. Covert narcissist. If you have a therapist like that, yeah, leave that therapist. If that therapist suddenly turns on you and goes, well, I did tell you, blah, 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 and you never listened to that. So, that's not a therapist. That's a covert narcissist tactic. Yeah. Because they're nice to you at first. They're all nicey, nice. So, now back to the whole ayahuasca thing. So people take ayahuasca for healing. It's like, guys, nothing in the plant kingdom can truly heal you. It doesn't heal you from a situation unless it is something that you need to flush out, or like physically, like floating in your body that you need flushed out, like when dogs chew grass to make them puke, that, or if you have hurt yourself and need instant relief in order to sleep, you take pain relief, which comes from a plant, right? You can't heal from something that is a mental thing, because you're going to come back to life from to the present from your assuming it goes well the way that they tell you it typically goes, and some people don't even purge on ayahuasca. I think it's a neurological thing, given that not everyone purges. Look, I think the real reason that you haven't healed your past traumas and that you think ayahuasca is helping you is because you aren't willing to dig deep enough into your subconscious, and that you don't have a proper therapist willing to help you to dig deeper and dig a little deeper. The therapist is not supposed to make you distressed. You might cry, you know? Like, let's say you're still dealing with the grief of someone, and that was the case with one woman in the show. If you're dealing with the grief of someone, and you can't get to the root cause as to why it still brings you down, and even if you know and it still bothers you, I think the only way to fix that, truly fix that, to help you realize, like, to help you go in the proper direction, is to have therapists that actually know what they're doing. Like, I think if you're starting to rely on hallucinogenics, it's because you're not willing to do the digging yourself, or you're not at a proper therapist. You don't have the proper therapist helping you. The proper type of therapist is one that, they do have to kind of dig a little. And you have to be willing to go through that. I have. And sometimes you can't, you need to learn to say no to certain things when you're going through a rough time. You can't just automatically say, okay, no, I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing despite the death of this person, or despite this thing, or despite that thing. If you're not mentally there, then you have to say no to your regular things, your regular job duties or whatever. I had to do that when my grandfather died, back when I was like 15. I had to do that because, and you know what? People were pushing back. People were telling me, you got to move on from it. I'm like, this was 5 days, mind you. See, people are cruel. Not everybody, there's a lot of covert narcissists in the world. A lot. And they're going to bring you down. They want you to do what they want you to do. They don't care about what you want. At the end of the day, their job is for you to make them happy, not for them to make you happy. This is how the world seems to be run now. At least with it, there's always some level of narcissism, whether it's overt or covert, it's always some level of narcissism involved. The whole ayahuasca thing. Don't do it. Do you really want to risk a seizure? Or some kind of crazy outrage that happens? Dude, there was a guy that killed a healer because it mentioned it in the show. There was a guy that killed the healer that was in charge of providing the ayahuasca. He killed the medicine woman, they called it. He killed her because the interaction that the ayahuasca made him have, along with medications he was apparently taking with it, it caused some kind of reaction, and now mentally, he was just not right anymore. That happens. Then he killed the woman, and then he was lynched in revenge, which I think means like hung or strangled in some kind of way. Maybe it's both. Who knows? Like a rope that hangs you and strangles you. And I don't know what lynched actually means, but that's kind of what I got from it. So yeah, because my mom didn't even know what it was when we were watching it. But guys, don't do it. Look, they even say people with bipolar that are on certain medications, they can't do it. Any psychiatric disorders, they don't really recommend you do it. They really don't. I know. So the real issue is you're not willing to dig down and find out what's wrong with you mentally. And instead, now there was one woman, and I'm going to give her props for this. I'm going to respect this because she had scleroderma, and now would I agree with it? Would I actually agree with the approach? Maybe in some aspects, but I'm a little more respectful toward her because she didn't have a condition that was in like need of true, like it wasn't the same condition like depression or whatever, right? This woman had scleroderma, and she was taking ayahuasca. But, okay, now here's the other thing. She was doing it alone, and that's no. Don't do it alone. If you're going to take it, have a friend come with you. Have a friend go join you. This woman was doing it alone. She's lucky she went through it the way she did. She was really, really sick. You remember what happens when you take it, by the way. It's not like you black out and forget everything. No, you do remember what happens. She threw up a lot. And then she had some weird visions, and then something told her to try and get up and walk. Hers was so bad she couldn't walk. She gets up and she walks. Now, I think that's actually quite incredible. Right? Guys, you need some safety precautions if you're going to do something like that. Like, okay, now, do I can get behind it a little bit more, but would I be okay with it? No. I would start by eliminating inflammatory things from the diet, because it sounds like it's inflammation that's making it harder for her to walk, right? I think that's what it is. And instead she's going for ayahuasca. When you come back out of your ayahuasca trip, you're not going to be able to walk again. Like, that's what she even said. She couldn't walk again. It can't heal what's already broken. And I don't even think they heal, period. I think they bring you visions. And because you're not willing to do the digging yourself and figure it out yourself. So you have to rely on a plant to make you somehow hallucinate things and bring back visions. No, that's not the way to do it, because you might be a person that can't take it, right? And I'm sure there's people that have taken it before that suddenly had a bad trip. Okay. I understand you've taken like 20 medications and it didn't help you. None of them helped you. But this isn't the way to do it. If you have something psychologically going on with you, you will not heal even with ayahuasca. I really don't think you will. You have not in a way that you think you should. I feel like over time it would just come back. And that's what makes you go back for more, right? There's people that have taken it. In this show, it tells you how many some people have taken. There was someone that took it 16 times. Truly, 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 truly. Do you really think it's actually healing if you're taking it 16 plus times? And you're going back for more? It's not healing you. Guys, listen to what your therapist actually tells you. And if they're not a good therapist, find a different one. But it's too costly. It's too costly. Your life could be on the line mentally if you don't do something, right? Because you know how mental people sometimes end up getting to the point where what is the point of even, So if would you rather just let your mental health start taking over your life? And also mental health takes over your life in a sense of, I'm not going to do this, I'm not going to go here, I'm not even going to leave, blah, 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 blah. So your life is literally on the line, and you're going to take something that could possibly make it worse. I have issues with that. I do. Yeah. So there's that. Now the other thing I wanted to talk about was in that same series. It's about fasting. Okay. A problem with that show. A problem. A huge problem. The guy that was doing that was the director of the clinic the main clinic that we see, he kind of talks like, who is that? There's a vegan doctor. I think Dr. Milton Mills also sometimes kind of talks like this. There's a doctor. He does talk like this. And he has this sort of shaky, croaky voice. And he doesn't want you ever going back on he doesn't want you ever going back on animal food. I know he's a vegan doctor because he even said it as when you start consuming dead, decaying flesh. Excuse me, sir. Was it ever dead along with decay? Was it rotting and stuff when you had it? When you used to eat meat? I'm sure you used to eat meat. Was it rotting when you've eaten it? Do you know how that would smell, buddy? It definitely wouldn't smell the way just regular meat smells. There would be no. You'd not even be able to stomach it, even if you wanted to. You wouldn't even dare to cook it. You'd be like, nope, that isn't even going in the pan. Sorry, that's gross. Was there decay? Do you know what decay is? Clearly you don't. Take a look at your veggies next time you start noticing them rotten. See what that looks like. Smell it. Do they still smell like veggies? I'm sure rotting meat does not smell like rotting meat. Or has a specific smell rather to rotting meat. Rotting meat smells like, I don't know, just bad. Does regular meat that you get at the store or the butcher, when you get it fresh and open it up, is it rotting inside? Yes, of course it's dead. Your fruits are dead too, by the way. Your veggies are also dead. The beans that you eat, they're dead now. Unless you're gonna grow them. Coconuts, they're dead, right? Your everything that you eat is dead at that point. Once you boil, especially when you boil and cook seeds and things like that, dead. They're dead. They're dead. When you grind up the seeds, dead. Dead. Are they rotting and decaying? Is that going on? These idiots, man. My mom was even like, "Oh," she's like, "Well, if you cook it right away." I'm like, "Yeah, and what if you just got it fresh from the butcher?" She's like, "Exactly." My mom is smarter than you. He starves this woman for 29 days. And I'm going to say starves because, he starves people for 29 days and they start to feel sick and sometimes they let them keep going. They make them keep going. You need an intervention, my friend. I think you need to start eating dying, decaying flesh again. Would you like to eat rotten meat? Do you even know what rotten meat? Look, I can't stress this enough. Did it smell rotten? Rotten has a particular smell. It smells just, I don't know, there's a smell. Yeah. You wouldn't be able to stand in front of it. I guarantee you that. You take one whiff and more than likely. Did meat ever make you do that before? Back when you did eat meat? Did it ever make you do that? When you smell it? I'm just saying. Stop bashing meat and calling it rotting, decaying flesh, dead, decaying flesh. Of course it's dead. So are the plants you eat, dipstick. Oh, and by the way, I bet you've killed people in the past from all that fasting. Yeah? Or no? Now, he has said that he will sometimes stop the fast if they know, but they don't even start the fast right. Or start the refeeding, rather, properly. They start it with juices. Sugary juices. There's no protein or fat in any of it. I think if you're going to break a fast, you're going to start it with fat and protein. So like bone broth and salt. A bite of bone broth, a drink of bone broth and some salt, or maybe an egg. But those are animal products. Yeah? Because that's what that's what our digestive tract is best to digest. No, we're not. We're herbivores because our pH is... Your pH is 2, dipstick. 1.5 to 2. Do you really think our pH... How can you be sure your pH is actually 5? How can you be sure of that? Why are we so tiny? And why are gorillas so ginormous? They're big because the stomach that they need to actually digest the plants is different. That's why they're bigger. And there's little itty bitty monkeys that eat plants, but their bodies are also shaped a certain way. Do we have the same? No, we make acids and enzymes. We have a little bit of leeway to use bacteria to break down stuff. But not really. Not really. Not really. No. We're not good at that. I'm not sorry, vegans. I'm not. I don't have compassion for you. I care more about other people than I do you. Because what I care about is people getting healthier and people getting stronger and actually smarter. You can tell when somebody's eating a vegan diet because they start talking all shaky, croaky, nasally. They don't think very clearly. They talk a lot slower. Dude, I have to put some of these guys on 1.5 speed when I watch them. You know that. Stop with this craziness, vegans. Please, I beg of you. Leave all of us alone, too, by the way. You're only making us carnivores look so much better, okay? Okay? Okay. Cool. So that was my rant about the show, Unwell. Yeah. I will, hope you liked this different little video. If you've seen it, let me know. I'd be curious to hear what you think. What you thought about it when you watched it. And if you haven't, that's okay. I don't mind. You know, you can, yeah. It's on Netflix if you want to watch it. There's some very interesting stuff up there. Oh, don't get me started on the Tantra. Ugh, yuck. Every other show I liked. I didn't like the tantric one. I couldn't listen to it. I couldn't even listen to it. I don't know if you even know what that is, but just watch it. Maybe if you can get through the second episode. I just couldn't listen to the sounds. It was disturbing, and it reminded me too much of today's population, today's generation, and how all they're obsessed with is porn and yeah. So yeah. That's yeah. It's yeah, so I didn't want to watch that because of the way this current generation is obsessed with that kind of stuff. So I won't get into that one. I don't even have anything to say. It's not like it does anything. It doesn't heal anything. None of these things actually heal you. Essential oils probably can or calm you at least if you smell them and use them for aromatherapy. I digress. So guys, let me know what you thought of the show, if you've seen it, or if you're actually curious to watch it. Maybe even if you can get through the second episode, let me know. I had to skip and go to the third because I just couldn't. Okay? Anyways, I'll see you guys in the next video.